He has a combination of things that we have never seen.
He can revolutionize the game.
The singular greatest prospect in NBA draft history.
Wembanyama guarded by Washington. Wembanyama the fake, the reverse, and the foul.
October 22nd, 2025. Dallas, Texas, season opener. The San Antonio Spurs walk into a road game against the Dallas Mavericks with more questions than answers. Victor Wembanyama hasn't played an NBA game in over 8 months. He's coming off a blood clot in his shoulder that ended his second season early.
Guarded by Washington. Wembanyama the fake, the reverse, and the foul.
The kind of diagnosis that makes teams nervous about the future of a 7'4" franchise cornerstone. Midway through the third quarter, any questions disappear. Wembanyama catches it on the left wing. One jab step, one dribble. He glides past Anthony Davis, takes off from just inside the dotted line, and hammers a tomahawk dunk that looks like it was animated, not filmed. By the final buzzer, the numbers are absurd. 40 points, 15 rebounds, 0 turnovers on 15 of 21 shooting. It's the most points ever by a Spur in a season opener, breaking George Gervin's old record of 39. He also becomes the first player since the 1970s to post 40 points, 15 rebounds, 3+ blocks, and 0 turnovers on 70% shooting in a season opener. This isn't a young player showing flashes. This is domination. But here's what almost nobody outside of France fully understands. This didn't come out of nowhere. This is the culmination of a project that started when Victor Wembanyama was a skinny teenager.
Guarded by Washington. Wembanyama the fake, the reverse, and the foul.
So tall that most people assumed his body would break before his game ever fully formed. So, how did a kid from a quiet Paris suburb become a 7'4" two-way cheat code who's already rewriting what an NBA big man can be? How good is Victor Wembanyama actually? Victor Wembanyama grew up in Le Chesnay-Roccancourt, a suburb just outside Paris. His mother Elodie played basketball. His father Felix was a long jumper and high jumper. Athleticism wasn't an accident. It was the family business. Victor shot up in height early. By his early teens, he was already towering over everyone. Yet the thing that shocked coaches wasn't just his size. It was how he moved. This wasn't a stiff, uncoordinated giant. He handled the ball like a guard, slid his feet on defense, and shot comfortably from deep. At 15 years old, he made his professional debut with Nanterre 92 in France's top league, LNB Pro A. 2 years later, he moved to ASVEL, where he won a Pro A championship in 2022. Most players his age are just stepping into college. Wembanyama was already banging with grown men in one of Europe's best leagues and holding his own. From the beginning, Wembanyama wasn't just some tall prospect. He was a 7-foot teenager doing guard things in a center's body. And that's what made scouts nervous, as much as it made them excited. The 2022-23 season with Metropolitans 92 is where Victor Wembanyama stopped being a prospect and became a problem. At just 18 to 19 years old, playing in France's top division, he averaged 21.6 points, 10.4 rebounds, and around 3 blocks per game in roughly 32 minutes a night. He led the league in scoring, rebounding, and blocks, became the youngest MVP in league history, and in the same season was named Best Defender, Best Scorer, Best Blocker, and Best Young Player. He dragged Metropolitans 92 all the way to the French League Finals, where they ran into AS Monaco and were swept. Even in defeat, Wembanyama dropped 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks in his final game before heading to the NBA. And then came the moment everyone remembers. 2 showcase games in Las Vegas against G League Ignite and Scoot Henderson. In front of NBA executives, media, and half the league's decision-makers, Victor put up 37 points with 5 blocks in one game and 36 points with 11 rebounds in the other, hitting step-back threes and pull-ups at 7 feet 4 inches. LeBron James watched and called him a generational talent. This wasn't hype based on potential anymore. The world had seen it with their own eyes. On June 22, 2023, the inevitable became official. The San Antonio Spurs used the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft to select Victor Wembanyama.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
The moment he put on the Spurs cap, the expectations were insane. Best prospect since LeBron, the future of the league, the most unique player we've ever seen. San Antonio, a franchise that built dynasties around Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker, was suddenly given a 7'4" French phenom with an 8-foot wingspan, guard skills, and shot-blocking instincts that looked like they were edited in post. Officially, the NBA listed him at 7 feet 4 inches, 235 pounds heading into his early seasons. The question wasn't if he'd be good. The question went straight to the extreme. How great can he actually become? In his rookie season, 2023-24, Wembanyama did something almost nobody does. He met sky-high expectations and then pushed them higher. Over 71 games, he averaged 21.4 points, 10.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.2 steals, and a league-leading 3.6 blocks per game in under 30 minutes a night. He led the entire NBA in blocks per game as a rookie, became the unanimous Rookie of the Year, finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting behind Rudy Gobert, became the first rookie ever named to the NBA All-Defensive First Team. Along the way, he delivered the kind of highlights that make defenders rethink their career choices. 38 points against the Phoenix Suns on November 2, 2023, taking over in the fourth quarter of a 132-121 win. 30-point multi-block nights where he'd swat jumpers at the three-point line, then trail a fast break and hit a pull-up three in transition. He wasn't just tall, he was everywhere. He bent offensive schemes and defensive game plans at 19 to 20 years old. Year 2 was supposed to be the leap, and statistically it was, until it wasn't. In his second NBA season, Victor ramped up his production to around 24.3 points, 11.0 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 3.8 blocks per game, once again leading the league in blocks. Then, just after the All-Star break, everything stopped. He began feeling pain and discomfort in his arm. After testing, doctors discovered deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot in his shoulder, and the Spurs shut him down for the rest of the season. His year ended early despite him being the clear frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year on a per-game basis. He wasn't eligible for the award because he didn't hit the new 65-game minimum. For a player this unique, the fear was obvious. Could his body handle the workload? Was this the beginning of a pattern or a one-off scare? San Antonio and Victor treated it like a reset button, a chance to rebuild his body, add strength, and come back even better. The answer to whether that worked arrived on opening night of Year 3, third season, fresh off a long rehab. The question hanging over everything: how will Wemby look now? We already know the answer from that Dallas game. 40 points, 15 rebounds, 0 turnovers, the most points by any Spur in a season opener, and one of the most efficient opening night performances in league history. But it didn't stop there. In the first weeks of the 2025-26 season, Wemby led the Spurs to a 5-0 start, the best season start in franchise history, with 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks in a win over the Miami Heat. Put up historic lines like 38 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, and 6 threes against the Chicago Bulls. The first player in NBA history to record at least 35 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, and 5 threes in a single game. Became the first player ever to tally over 100 points, 40 rebounds, and 15 blocks in his team's first 3 games of a season, earning Western Conference Player of the Week. Through the early part of that third year, before a minor calf strain briefly sidelined him, Wemby was averaging around 26.2 points, 12.9 rebounds, 4.0 assists, and 3.6 blocks per game, once again near the top of the league in both scoring and rim protection. The message was clear. The body held up. The game leveled up. If you want to know how good a player actually is, watch what happens when he puts on his national team jersey. In Paris 2024, Victor played his first Olympics at home. Representing France, he averaged 15.8 points, 9.7 rebounds, 3.3 blocks, 3.3 assists, and nearly 1.7 steals per game over 6 contests. He was one of the most impactful two-way players in the entire tournament. France beat teams like Canada and Germany on their way to a second straight Olympic final, where they faced Team USA loaded with superstars and came away with a silver medal. For France, this wasn't just a good run, it was a confirmation. Their future revolves around a 7-foot-4-inch shot-blocking, shot-creating, floor-spacing anomaly who can anchor a defense and be a primary offensive option, even against the best players in the world. So, how good is Victor Wembanyama actually? Let's strip away the hype and look at what's already true by age 21. Pro A MVP in France, while leading the league in points, rebounds, and blocks in 2022 to 2023. Number 1 overall pick by the Spurs in 2023, ESPN.com. Unanimous NBA Rookie of the Year in 2024. Led the NBA in blocks per game in each of his first 2 seasons. first rookie ever named to the All-Defensive First Team. Her career averages through his first 100-plus games in the league, roughly 22 to 23 points, 11 rebounds, nearly 4 assists, and almost 4 blocks per game, on efficient shooting for a high-usage big man. A historic 40-point season opener, franchise record, and multiple never-seen-before stat lines, like that 38-12-5-5-6 box score against Chicago. Olympic silver medalist and the focal point of a French team that made back-to-back Olympic finals. Statistically, he's already in a space that almost no one has occupied this early in a career. Stylistically, he combines elements of a traditional rim protector, a modern stretch big, and a perimeter shot creator, all in one player. Is he the greatest big man ever? Of course not. Not yet. He hasn't won an NBA title. He hasn't won MVP. His health will always be watched closely because of his size and the DVT scare. Those are real variables. But if the question is, how good is Victor Wembanyama actually right now? The answer is, he's already one of the most impactful two-way players in the world. A generational rim protector with guard-like skill, putting up all-time numbers before most players even reach their physical peak. He hasn't just lived up to the hype, he's turned it into a baseline. And if he stays healthy, we're not talking about whether he'll be great. We're talking about where he lands on the all-time list. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed to RimZone and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Drop a comment and let me know who you want to see next. Another young star, an all-time legend, or a player everyone is sleeping on. This is RimZone, and I'll catch you in the next one.